Hello, Bookfighters. It's Thursday. It's actually not Thursday, it's Sunday, so I have no idea what the other Bookfighters have said so far. I am going to be camping this week. I'm leaving tomorrow right after work and getting home on Thursday evening, which is when I'm posting this, but I'm not going to have any time to record between now and then, except for right now. So, I am talking to you from the past. You are seeing me in the future. Anything could have happened. So I think we're starting this out with a quick life update. Since Bookfighters, I have moved from Florida back to Colorado. I moved May of last year, so I've been here for a little while now. I'm currently working as a leasing agent for an apartment, and that's, not very interesting to talk about, so that's all I'll say about that. I have new cats. Infamous, my cat that I had during Bookfighters, squeezed his fat, furry cat body out of a slat about this big in a second-story window, just plopped right out of it, and then I saw him do it. I saw his little legs go through the window, and then he got down on the street, looked back at me, and gave me this, unkind look, and then just sauntered away, never to be seen or heard from again. So, anytime he'd gotten out before, he always came back. This time he didn't. So Infamous is probably living with some old cat lady in Florida now. But I have new cats. This is Buffy. She's very bad, but cute. And the other cat, Lunchbox, is nowhere to be found at the moment, so I might find him at some point and show you, but right now you'll just have to use your imagination. I also have a new girlfriend. Not really new anymore. We've been dating for about almost 2.5 years. We became roommates just like a month after we stopped making videos for Bookfighters, and then a while later started dating, and the rest, as they say, is history. She's not here, so I can't pull her into frame, but I'll show you a picture, maybe, right now, somewhere. Anyway, on to the discussion topics. So the first topic was to recommend the best book we have read since Bookfighters ended. And this is kind of a tricky question for me because I haven't really read very much since Bookfighters has ended. Something has happened and I have a lot of trouble just focusing on a book and reading it all the way to the end. And so I've started many books, but finished very few, maybe 1 or 2 a year since then. Though, if I am going to recommend one of the ones that I have read all the way from the beginning to the end, it's probably one you wouldn't expect to hear from me, but it's called Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. I'd show you the cover, but I read it on my Kindle, and you know what a Kindle looks like, so no point in showing you that. But it's kind of like a spiritualist book, but it doesn't read like one. You don't have to know anything about the woo-woo auras and frequency vibrations and other stuff that's a big turnoff with anything in that genre, to me at least. It reads very much like psychological case studies. So what it's about is this guy started doing hypnotherapy on people to kind of figure out what happened to us after we die and if there is any other life and anything like that. And it's basically it's a bunch of hypnotherapy sessions, people talking about what happens between lives. So yeah, the premise of this is there is reincarnation, obviously. But it's really interesting, even if that's not usually your thing, even if you already have your own set of beliefs, it doesn't try to convince you of anything. It's just really interesting and definitely worth reading. If for nothing else, for the kind of philosophical aspect of it. It asks some interesting questions, and I definitely recommend that you read that one. Next, we were going to re-review a book that we read during Bookfighters that we might give another opinion on now, years later. And I haven't reread anything that I read during Bookfighters, so it's a little hard for me to give a new opinion, and I feel like there are some books that I have a little bit of a different feeling about now, but it's not because I reread it, it's kind of because of this other stuff kind of flying around the culture and conversations, and I don't know how much of that is genuine and how much of that is me being kind of affected. Like the Hunger Games, we all recommended that one very emphatically, and now there's sort of this sheen of criticism towards it, I guess. But I don't know if that's real or not. So I don't want to say anything about anything that I haven't reread since then, because I don't want to just vomit back the stuff that other people have been saying about these books. The only thing that I would do is maybe be more emphatic in my recommendations of books that I've already read. Like The Once and Future King, you should read it. Why aren't you reading it right now? Why are you watching this video instead of reading The Once and Future King? It's amazing. Get out of here. Or, I don't know, anything else that I really loved or really hated, I would just want to, like, hit that on the head a little bit more. Though the one that I would give a slightly different review of now than I did then is this one. The Long Walk by Stephen King. It was one of the ones I think that we did when we did, like, a book swap, where we all recommended books or assigned books to other Bookfighters, and this one I know was recommended to me by Dan. When I first read it, I didn't give it a bad review by any means, just sort of a lackluster one. Like, it was a good book, but I've already read this story many times, just me personally, and so it didn't really bring anything new to the table for me, and if I had read it earlier in my life, I'd probably feel more strongly about it. But since that time, this book has been on my mind a lot. I feel like it just keeps coming up. I'm just thinking about it all the time. So it's one of those ones that's like a slow burn. Like, it wasn't super impressive to me when I first read it, just because of things I had already read in the past. But it stuck with me in a way that none of the other books that I read for Bookfighters did, aside from the ones that I already knew and loved before I reviewed them for Bookfighters. Well, that's all of the topics that we had to talk about. It's super exciting that our channel is 5 years old. It kind of blows my mind. And I have lately found myself really missing Bookfighters. I mean, I know that I couldn't do that project now at this point in my life with everything that's going on, but I miss it. It was a really interesting and creative time for me personally, and, you know, I loved getting to know all of the other Bookfighters and all of the other people that came into my life because of Bookfighters, and I miss it. I miss it. I can't do it now, but I miss that time. I have nostalgia for it. So it's really nice to get back here and make you guys another video. If you want to follow me anywhere else in the internet world, there's a bunch of links down in the, did we call it the bookshelf during Bookfighters? I think we did. The description. You know what it is. There's Tumblr, Instagram, Snapchat. I run an INTJ blog. We talked about that during Bookfighters, which is why I'm bringing it up. That's linked down there. I also have a podcast associated with that INTJ blog that I haven't updated in about a year, but I'm about to reformat and start working on it again with a co-host. And so, you know, that's going to start moving along again. So there's links for all of that down there. And Julia, I'll see you tomorrow.